So it is time of the year for ramsons or wild garlic. So I'm talking about Allium ursinum species, not the same one as in North America, which is Allium tricoccum, but they are quite the same in their appearance, in their flavor, in uses. It's just really, they are very, very similar. They just can be found on different continents. And here, while I am standing, I also see a lot of ground elder. Ground elder is starting to grow now around March here, and it is an edible plant. I am not going to use it. When you are picking it, the younger is usually the better. I have been looking at different recipes and ways how I could prepare them, but I am just going to skip that and focus on ramsons today. When we talk about ramsons, we need to be very careful about identification, because majority of plants that start to grow early in spring are actually toxic. If you think about it, they pretty much stick out visually, and every predator for them could easily see them and eat them. This is the reason why most of these things, like this arum over here, are toxic. It's of course their protection. And exception, at least for humans, are allium species or onions or garlics. I'm going to try to find one now and really focus on it, on how to be sure, how to identify it, and how, to be at peace when you forage for it and later cook it. Not to worry about, are you going to have some nasty side effects because you accidentally picked something toxic. So wild garlic is just starting, and that is the reason why we are not finding huge patches of them. But I assure you, we will find them soon, at least few leaves, and I'm going to take them with me to make pie at home. That's a topic for another day. One of the species which is very easily misidentified as allium species or as wild garlic is lily family. So lilies, or sort of species and subspecies, when they start to grow, they look pretty much alike. I've been talking about this in separate video previous year. I'm going to link it in the description and here on the screen, so you can check it out. Now let's find some ramsons. So let's talk about where do you find wild garlic. You will find wild garlic most of the time in damp forests. It does not have to be marshland or anything like that, but forests where moisture is a bit higher, usually around streams, waterfalls, and terrain like that. And what I noticed is wild garlic really likes to grow on slopes. I'm not sure, is it its thing, or I just accidentally found the ones that are growing there, but there it is. This is wild garlic leaf. Maybe to an untrained eye it's maybe not that easy to notice it, but once you know the environment it grows in, time when it grows and everything else, trust me, you can spot it from, 10, 20 more meters away. Sometimes you can even smell it when you pass through the area where there is a large patch of them. You can most certainly smell them, and you can smell them especially if you crush it between your fingers. It has very pungent, very typical garlic smell. Interestingly, flavor is not that intense, so keep in mind that flavor is a bit milder if you're going to cook anything with it. So when you notice it, you see it has quite waxy outer side. You can see how it reflects the sunlight. Here is how the underside looks. One of the best identification steps is the actual smell. Now, if you have trouble with sense of smell, this will not help you, but most people don't. And most people will actually catch this very pungent, very intense, garlicky smell. Be careful though, because if you crush it, smell it, and do this kind of test, later it sticks to your finger. And then you can try You can go and pick something else and, you know, in a hurry, smell it, smell the residue of the smell of actual wild garlic, and then think this is also wild garlic, while it is of course not. This is, actually I don't know what it is, growing near ground elder, maybe just started growing, but you know the point. Very unusual and for me interesting thing is when you crush it, squeeze it, play with it, cut it, you hear this squeaky sound. It's almost as if it's made of rubber or some kind of plastic. Don't let that fool you. It is still very tasty and the texture is nice when you eat it. It's just that in this raw stage, when you do things to it, it sounds a bit squeaky. Always check and double check before you eat anything. Don't use this or any other video for that matter as a definite guide, and if you're not experienced, you don't have a mentor or anything like that, check multiple sources, multiple books, multiple pictures, and always be 100% sure. Why is wild garlic called bear garlic? Bears start to wake up around the time wild garlic starts to grow. Wild garlic is actually one of the first foods they eat to replenish their strength and energy they lost during hibernation. There it is, if you know what you're doing and you know where to look, and of course if you know how to cook later, you'll have a fun time, good time with Ramsons. It's a nice adventure. You can go on a short walk, take kids or pets or just yourself, whatever it is your jam, whatever floats your boat, and just enjoy. It is so many nice things at once, and I think this is really a beautiful way to say hello to springtime. Cheers!